Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Today I am going to present the title Water Soluble Fertilizers for Fertigation and Foliar Spray. So let's move on. First to understand about water soluble fertilizers. Water soluble fertilizers are fertilizers that can be dissolved in water and added or leached out of the soil easily. Among the 16 elements required for the development and growth of any crop, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium are the major nutrients. Water-soluble NPK fertilizers are fast-acting, highly efficient and extremely useful for increasing the yield and quality of horticultural and all fields and cash crops. Being readily soluble in water, water-soluble fertilizers help fertigation by releasing essential plant nutrients at the root zone from where they are readily absorbed and used elsewhere in the plant system. As water-soluble fertilizers are concerned, 25 to 30% of recommended dose of fertilizers can be reduced by using water-soluble fertilizers. Essential nutrients can be applied uniformly to each and every plant even on daily basis. Water-soluble fertilizers lend themselves to different methods of applications like foliar and fertigation methods. They are also suitable for soil application depending on requirement. Wide range of nutrient grades are available for water-soluble fertilizers, and as it is applied on crop requirement, it reduces accumulation of salts in soil. Water-soluble fertilizers are mostly suitable for fertigation and foliar application. So let's understand what is fertigation. Fertigation is a method of fertilizer application in which fertilizer is incorporated within the irrigation water by the drip system. So fertigation is the application of fertilizer and irrigation along with. In this system, fertilizer solution is distributed evenly in irrigation system. The availability of nutrients is very high, therefore the efficiency is more. In this method, liquid fertilizers as well as water-soluble fertilizers are used, and fertilizer use efficiency is increased from 80 to 90%. Fertigation is a modern agro technique, provides an excellent opportunity to maximize yield and minimize environmental pollution by increasing fertilizer use efficiency, minimizing fertilizer application, and increasing return on fertilizer invested. In fertigation, timing, amounts, and concentration of fertilizer applied are easily controlled. In fertigation method, the selection of fertilizer is very important. So we have to consider the different factors like plant type and stages of growth, because in different plant stages there is different requirement. In vegetative stage, initial development stage and reproductive stage, there will be different nutrients requirement. So our fertilizer selection should be according to the plant requirement. Soil conditions are another factor. Our fertilizer selection should be according to the soil characteristics. If soil is acidic or alkaline, then our fertilizer selection should be matched with soil. Water quality is one of the important factor, because the fertilizer which we are using, it should be compatible with water solubility, and if it is water is impure, there are some salt deposition problems, it will cause the choking or clogging of drippers. So pure water should be used. Fertilizer availability and prices are another factor, because we have to get the maximum nutrient supply to the plants in a least expenses. So based on above factors, our fertilizer for fertigation should have the qualities like it should have high quality, high solubility nature, it should be pure. This fertilizer should not having high salt levels, and It should be having the acceptable pH and must fit in farm management programs. Here to go through fertilizers which are used in fertigation. Urea, potash and highly water soluble fertilizers are available for applying through fertigation. If we will see, the application of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium is having high fertilizer efficiency compared to soil application. In case of nitrogen, under soil application the efficiency is only 30 to 50%, while in fertigation method it is having excellent up to 95%. Under phosphorus application during soil placement the efficiency is 20%, while in fertigation method it increased to 45%. Potassium is also having the greater efficiency in fertigation, while soil application it is around 50%, and in fertigation method it is recorded around 80% of fertilizer use efficiency. As nitrogen fertilizer is concerned, urea is well suited for injection in micro irrigation system. It is highly soluble and dissolves in non-ionic form so that it doesn't react with other substances in the water. Also, urea doesn't cause precipitation problems. Urea, ammonium nitrate, ammonium sulfate, calcium ammonium sulfate, calcium ammonium nitrate are used as nitrogenous fertilizer in drip fertigation. Under fertigation of phosphorus, application of super phosphorus through fertigation must be avoided. Means super phosphorus is not suited for fertigation because it makes precipitation of phosphate salts. Thus, phosphoric acid is more suitable for fertigation as it is available in liquid form. Monoammonium phosphate appears to be more suitable for fertigation. Under potash fertigation, application of potassic fertilizers doesn't cause any precipitation of salts. Potassium nitrate, potassium chloride, potassium sulfate and monopotassium phosphates are used in drip fertigation. And there are micronutrients like iron, manganese, zinc, copper, boron, molybdenum which could be used as a micronutrients in drip fertigation. Under water soluble fertilizers, some special fertilizers like monoammonium phosphate which contains nitrogen and phosphorus, Polyfilled which are having the nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium elements, Multi-K which supply nitrogen and potassium, potassium sulfate which is the source of potassium and sulfur are highly suitable for fertigation as they are highly soluble in water. A large range of fertilizers, both solid and liquid, are suitable for fertigation depending on the physiochemical properties of the fertilizer solution. For large scale field operations, solid fertilizer sources are typically a less expensive alternative to the commonly used liquid formulations. The solubility of these fertilizers does vary greatly. When switching to a solid fertilizer source, problems can be avoided in the nurse tank by ensuring that ample water is added to the stock solution. Now to study advantages of fertigation. Fertigation features a host of added value as irrigation and nutrient application is concerned. Fertigation increases nutrient availability. Nutrients and water are supplied near the active root zone through fertigation system, which results in greater absorption by the crops. Fertigation results in higher yield. As water and fertilizer are supplied evenly to all the crops through fertigation, there is a possibility to getting 25 to 50% of higher yield. Fertigation improves efficiency of fertilizer use. Fertilizer use efficiency through fertigation ranges between 80 to 90%, which helps to save a minimum of 25% of nutrients. Fertigation saves 20 to 40% fertilizer without affecting growth and yield. Nutrients are applied at exactly the rate needed by the plants in its actual growth stage, preventing deficiency even at periods of high nutrient uptake. Fertigation is a highly effective and flexible tool for controlling placement, timing, and nutrient application method, and fertigation can be used for all types of irrigation systems and growth conditions. By fertigation method, along with less amount of water, time, water and energy usage also reduced substantially. This enables precise nutrition to be applied according to the soil fertility status and growth stage of any crop. The nutrients are applied uniformly across the irrigated area. Fertigation also reduces environmental contamination by eliminating nature pollution with decreased chemical applications. And fertigation allows for reduced soil salinity, sodicity and acidity. And it also reduces leaching of nutrients and reduces fertilizer need by 70 to 90%, which virtually eliminates fertilizer turnoff. The grower can immediately respond to environmental changes that may affect the plant nutrients requirements profile, and by the application of fertigation method, it's also affecting soil microbial biomass in a positive way. Now, accuracy of nutrient application in fertigation. A significant advantage of fertigation is the liquid form of nutrients distribution. Thus, plants can absorb them immediately after administration, which enhances their availability and efficiency. Root fertigation allows optimal nutrient supplies to the root zone with minimum losses. It essentially reduces turnoff and wastes, especially due to downpours or flooding. Fertigation scheduling depends upon the crop needs within required frameworks and may be performed daily, weekly basis according to the nutrient management plan. Besides, for example, in case of fertigation through drip irrigation, the absence of machinery soil disturbance during fertilizer application prevents earth compaction. Most fertigation systems are equipped with sensors to measure pH level and electric conductivity. This way, farmers can determine necessary fertilizer rates. Then they can set the fertigation and irrigation system injectors correspondingly. Here we have listed out some fertilizers which are water soluble and compatible with fertigation irrigation method. We will discuss in details about these fertilizers. Along with a lot of advantages, there are some limitations also related to fertigation. Like initial investment is very high because we have to arrange fertigation irrigation system, which will cause heavy investment. And there are some chemical reactions after application of fertilizers. So fertilizer selection is very, very important. Otherwise it will cause corrosion and precipitation of fertilizer, which may result clogging of emitters. Now we will go through a specifications of water soluble fertilizers which are suitable for fertigation and foliar spray. First fertilizer is Urea Phosphate, which contains nitrogen 17% and phosphorus 44%. This fertilizer is suitable for fertigation and as well as base fertilizer application. Urea phosphate is not recommended for foliar spray because it is having acidic nature, so it may cause some impact to plant foliage. Urea phosphate is a product of urea and phosphoric acid and best source of phosphorus, and it is also the best replacement of diammonium phosphate and economic source of phosphorus. Being 100% soluble, amenable to fertigation, gives maximum utilization of phosphorus as well as nitrogen even in calcareous soil and increases nutrient uptake efficiency. In this fertilizer, high acidity helps to create ideal pH in the root zone area and gives impressive increase in yield and quality. And this fertilizer also helps in reducing nitrogen volatilization and give impressive increase in yield and quality of crop. Being acidic in nature, it neutralizes the pH of alkaline soil and enhances efficiency of nutrients applied to the fields, and improves quality of alkaline irrigation water and helps to unclog the drippers of micro irrigation systems. This fertilizer is recommended for fruits, flowers, cereal, pulses, and all commercial crops like cotton, carrot, potato, and garlic, tropical and citrus fruits. Second fertilizer is sulfate of potash, which contains water-soluble potassium by 50% of the volume and sulfate sulfur 17.5%. Along with potash and sulfur, it is also having a small quantity of chlorides, which is 2.5% by maximum, and sodium in the form of sodium chloride by 2%. Sulfate of potash is the cheapest source of potassium, which is chloride free, and this fertilizer is recommended during final developmental stage of plants, which is needed during reproductive stages, and potash plays important role in development of seed formation and its quality, so it is recommended during later stages of the crop. Potash application increases the shelf life of the crop post harvest and increases resistance against pest, diseases, and abiotic stresses. So sulfate of potash is playing very important role. And this fertilizer is recommended for crops like tobacco, groundnut, potato, onion, tomato, and other crops. Sulfate of potash is suitable for fertigation in salty soils and suitable for drip irrigation as well as foliar spray. Third fertilizer is urea phosphate with sulfate of potash, which is the source of nitrogen, phosphorus, potash as well as sulfur. It contains nitrogen 18%, phosphorus 18%, and potassium 18%. So it is having the equal quantities of all these three primary nutrients. Along with NPK, it is also supplying the sulfur in the form of sulfate sulfur, which is having the 6.1%. And this fertilizer is suitable for fertigation. Fourth fertilizer is calcium ammonium nitrate, which is the important source of nitrogen. It contains ammonium and nitrate form of nitrogen 15.5% and nitrate nitrogen form 14.5%, and along with it is also having the calcium of 18.5%. This fertilizer is suitable for foliar application, drip irrigation as well as base fertilizer dosage. This fertilizer contains 100% soluble calcium and nitrogen in nitrate form, which is preferred for fruit and field crops, and it improves the strength of cell wall, increasing shelf life of marketable produce, and corrects calcium deficiency, because along with nitrogen it is the best source of calcium. Fifth fertilizer is potassium nitrate. Potassium nitrate contains nitrogen all in nitrate form by 13% and water soluble potassium by 45% of weight. Along with nitrogen and potassium, it also contains small quantities of sodium and chlorides. Sodium is by 1% and chloride in the form of chlorine by 1.5%. This fertilizer is suitable for fertigation as well as foliar spray. It is having low salt index, chloride free, and rich in potash fertilizer is having 45% content. Entire nitrogen is available in nitrate form, which is readily available to the plants. Application of potassium nitrate increases uptake of potassium, calcium, and magnesium nutrients, and play important role in protecting dropping of immature and developing fruits under unfavorable conditions. This fertilizer is compatible to mix with other fertilizers, and it helps in formation of sugar during fruit setting in crops like sugarcane. As potassium is helpful in improving shape, size, and quality of fruits and seeds, so potassium nitrate fertilizer is playing very important role. This fertilizer is less hygroscopic. Hygroscopic means tending to absorb moisture from the air, readily taking off and retaining moisture. So this potassium nitrate is less hygroscopic. It is not prone to absorb moisture from the air. This fertilizer is recommended for crops like grapes, banana, cotton, pomegranate, tomato, onion, sugarcane, ginger, turmeric, watermelon and other crops. Sixth fertilizer is monopotassium phosphate. This fertilizer contains phosphorus by 52% of weight and water soluble potassium by 34%, and along with it is having very small constituent of sodium by 0.5%. This fertilizer is recommended for initial development stages of the plants when the crop is under pre-bloom and post-bloom stages, and this is recommended in alkaline soil for best results and suitable for foliar spray drip irrigation applications. Monopotassium phosphate is concentrated source of phosphorus and potassium. This is chloride free, having low salt index and prevents clogging of drip system. This fertilizer plays an important role in improving size and yields of the crop, improves resistance to adverse weather conditions and pest infestations, improves luster, uniform color and taste of fruits. So it is playing great role in improving the qualitative characteristics. It promotes flowering and fruit setting, reduces flower and fruit dropping, and this is recommended for the crops like tomato, sugar beet, onion, potato, groundnut, legumes, fruits crops, flowers and other commercial crops. Next fertilizer is monoammonium phosphate. This fertilizer contains nitrogen in the form of ammonical nitrogen by 12% and having rich source of water soluble phosphorus by 61% and a small fractions of sodium in the form of sodium chloride by 0.5%. This fertilizer application is ideal in initial stages of crop growth before flowering stage, and this fertilizer is suitable for fertigation, foliar applications, drip irrigation and for hydroponic systems. Monoammonium phosphate is highly concentrated source of phosphorus and additional supply of nitrogen. This is sodium and chloride free, prevents salt deposition near root zone, having low salt index. Application of monoammonium phosphate improves uptake of other nutrients and helps in fast and healthy vegetative and root growth. This fertilizer is also less hygroscopic, means it is not absorbing the moisture from the air, and because of this property it can be applied with other fertilizers. Next fertilizer is Polyfilled Npk, which contains equal source of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium by 19%. This fertilizer is 100% water soluble fertilizer containing major nutrients NPK and helps in maintaining NPK nutrient balance in the plant and makes them speedily available. This fertilizer is acidic in nature and hence helps in removing salt deposition in the drippers of the system. This fertilizer can be used with any type of pesticides for foliar spray as well as in fertigation irrigation system. And this fertilizer can be applied at any stage of the crop which prompts roots and shoot development. And this crop is recommended for the crops like fruits, flowers, vegetables, cereals, pulses, cotton, sugarcane and tea crops, and can be applied at any stages. And this fertilizer is recommended for fertigation and foliar application as well as. Next water soluble fertilizer is Polyfilled Npk, which contains nitrogen 13%, phosphorus 40% and potassium 13%. This fertilizer is suitable for fertigation as well as foliar application to the plants. And application of this fertilizer fosters plant rooting and blossoming. This fertilizer is having acidic nature, so it prevents scale formation in irrigation system, removes cloggings, and promotes crop growth by stimulating new root development. This fertilizer is helpful in reducing flower dropping, increasing fruit setting, and increases yield and quality of the produce. Application of this fertilizer is useful for early flowering, early fruit formation, and fruit development stages, where the requirement of crops for phosphorus is more and less requirement for nitrogen and potassium. This fertilizer is also enriched with micronutrients and suitable for commercial crops like sugarcane, tea, coffee, cereals, fibers, flowers, potato, and other crops like legumes, groundnuts, and vegetables, fruits. Next fertilizer is calcium nitrate along with boron. This fertilizer contains calcium by 17%, nitrogen by 14.5%, and boron by 0.2 to 0.3%. This fertilizer is suitable for foliar applications, drip irrigation, as well as its base fertilizer application method. This fertilizer contains 100% water soluble calcium and boron, and nitrogen is available in the form of nitrate, which is preferred for fruit and field crops. As this fertilizer contains boron, which is helpful in cell wall formation, where calcium improves the strength of cell wall and increasing strength and quality of produce. Application of this fertilizer corrects calcium and boron deficiency in crop and recommended for crops like vegetables, fruits, and flowers. Now to study about liquid fertilizers. Liquid form of fertilizers are applied along with irrigation water or for application directly. It is having ease of handling, less labor requirement, and possibility of mixing with herbicides has made the liquid fertilizers more acceptable to farmers. Most fertigation systems for residential use require the use of liquid fertilizers since they are unable to solubilize, dissolve higher concentration water soluble fertilizers. Most companies that produce fertilizers for fertigation produce liquid fertilizers since that is only option that their dispensing units can handle. So for liquid fertilizer application there is use of dispensing units as a residential usage. The drawback of liquid fertilizer is that when they are manufactured, they must be diluted with water to make them weaker and less concentrated. Producers do this because they must keep the fertilizers in suspensions and can only do that when nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium are at low concentration levels. Therefore, rarely we can see balancing fertilizers rating of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium in a liquid form above 20%. There are different type of liquid fertilizers. If we will see nitrogenous fertilizer, there is anhydrous liquid ammonia, aqueous ammonia, ammoniates, and concentrated solution of ammonium nitrate and urea. And there are some complex fertilizers which are containing 2 or 3 basic plant food elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in various proportions. Now to study some nitrogenous liquid fertilizers. Ammonia solution contains nitrogen by 16.5 to 25%. Anhydrous liquid ammonia is highly concentrated, which contains nitrogen 82.2%, and ammonia liquors having a 35 to 45% of nitrogen. These fertilizers contain nitrogen mainly or exclusively in the form of ammonia, which bonds firmly with the soil particles and is not washed out by rains or melted snow water. Thus, liquid fertilizers can be applied not only in spring season but also in late summers, under winter crops, and autumns also. Liquid fertilizers are introduced into the soil to a specific depth to avoid ammonia loss by trailers or tractor mounted machines with plow or cultivators. Ammonia solution and liquors are introduced at a depth of 10 to 12 centimeters and anhydrous ammonia is placed at the 15 to 20 centimeters depending on the mechanical state of the soil. As ammonium nitrate and urea solutions are having the nitrogen 30 to 32%, they do not contain ammonia. They can be put in the top dressing and sprayed over the soil surface. Liquid fertilizer dosage in terms of nitrogen are the same as those of solid nitrogen fertilizers. So this presentation was all about water soluble fertilizers for fertigation and foliar spray. Hope this will be useful to all of you. Thank you very much. I have given here my YouTube channel details, Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Having request, please visit the channel, subscribe it and provide your kind and valuable feedback. Thank you.